Growing Frogs by Vivian French, illustrated by Allison Bartlett. Growing Frogs. Once when I was little, my mom read me a big story about a frog that grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Afterward, Mom asked me if I'd like to watch some real frogs growing. "I know where there's a pond with lots of frogs' eggs in it," said Mom. "We could bring some home." I was frightened. "I don't want any frogs jumping around getting bigger and bigger and bigger," I said. My mom gave me a big hug. "It's only a story," she said. "Even when our frogs are grown up, they'll still be smaller than my hand." "Oh," I said. "Okay." The next day, we went to look at the pond. The water was dark brown, and there was a gray jelly stuff floating on top. "Yuck," I said. "There's the frog spawn," said Mom, and she pointed to the gray jelly stuff. "I bet that was laid last Friday night. The frogs were croaking so loudly I couldn't get to sleep." "You see that black dot in the middle of each jelly shell," said Mom. "That's going to grow into a tadpole." "Where are the frogs?" I asked. "Tadpoles grow into frogs," she said. "Little ones, not giant frogs here." Mom put some pond weed and some stones into a bag. She filled the bucket with pond water, then scooped the little of the frog spawn onto it. And it says here, "Always use pond water for growing frogs at home. Tap water has chemicals like fluoride in it, and it might poison the frogs." When we got home, we put everything into a big fish tank in the kitchen. The cat kept peering at it, so we had to put a wire net over the top. I counted 27 little black dots. Each dot was inside its own jelly shell. And it says here, the tank needs to be kept somewhere that's cool and away from direct sunlight. Okay. Every day when I woke up, I went straight downstairs to look at the pond spawn, the frog spawn. The little dots grew into bigger dots, then into tiny curls, and then one morning I saw the first tadpole wriggling out of its jelly shell. And over here it says, in the tank, the eggs hatch into tadpoles about 10 days after they are laid. At first the tadpoles didn't do much. They just stayed close to their jelly shells and nibbled at the pond weed. But after 2 or 3 days, they looked quite different. There were feathery things on their heads, and I could see their eyes. They even swam very fast. And it says here, the feathery things are called gills, and they're what underwater animals use for breathing. 10 of the eggs didn't ever hatch. The black dots went dull and cloudy, and Mom took them away. The main reason eggs don't hatch is that they aren't fertilized during the mating. Then we cleared out the tank and put in fresh pond weed and pond water. One of the tadpoles swam into my hand when I was putting a black stone back. It was slippery and slithery, and it made me jump. After tadpoles hatch, the pond water needs to be changed at least twice a week with the same pond water that they came from. Interesting. After a while, I got used to having tadpoles, and I didn't look at them so often. When Mom told me their little feathery things had disappeared, I didn't believe her. But it was true. Tadpoles have gills on the outside of their bodies at first. Then they grow gills inside their bodies, and the outside ones disappear. I was the one who saw the next change, though. "Look!" I shouted, and Mom rushed in to see. Some of the tadpoles had grown 2 little bumps. Mom said the bumps would grow into back legs. Wow. They grew very quickly. One day there were 2 little bumps. The next day the bumps were stumps. The day after that they looked almost like real legs. And when their feet unfolded, they were webbed like tiny little brownish green fans. They aren't tadpoles anymore, I said, and they're not quite frogs. The not quite frogs grew front legs next, and then their tails got shorter, and their mouths got wider. Now they're frogs, Mom said, baby ones. Soon the baby frogs were popping up and gulping at the surface of the water. One of them tried to climb onto the stones, but it slid off. Mom said they were getting ready to leave the water. Grown-up frogs breathe air, she said, and that's what the stones are for, so our frogs can climb out of the water and breathe. And it says here, as tadpoles slowly turn into frogs, they grow lungs for breathing air and their gills disappear. Not long after that, Mom said it was time to take our baby frogs back to live in the pond with all the other baby frogs. I was sorry to see them leave, but Mom said we could come back and visit every day. Baby frogs need space to grow and room to hop around. Grown-up frogs live most of their lives on land, returning to their ponds only to breed. One rainy morning a week later, Mom woke me up very early. Hurry, she said, and we ran downstairs and out to the pond. There were hundreds of tiny frogs hopping over the grass. They're looking for dark, wet places to live, Mom said. But they won't go far. In a couple more years, they'll be back to lay frog spawn of their own. Will they be bigger then? I asked. Just a little, said Mom. Good, I said. I like having frogs jumping around, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The end.